Good afternoon, I'm Mike Amor. We've just learned the jury has reached a verdict in the Mushroom Cook murder trial. This is a live look at the Latrobe Valley Law Courts. Erin Patterson is charged with 3 counts of murder and 1 of attempted murder. And for the past 11 weeks, the eyes of the nation, indeed the eyes of the world, have been on this building. It could be just a matter of minutes until we get the verdict from the court, when we understand they're going to return about 2:15 p.m. Let's begin here with Seven's chief reporter Chris Reason and crime reporter Cassie Zervos. Cassie, first to you. This has been let's go to Chris Reason first. Rezo, I don't want to use the description of excitement because this involves the death of 3 people. A lot of anticipation where you are, I understand.
Well, anticipation, Mike, has been building, as you say, for 10 weeks now, and finally the day has arrived. This jury first met a week ago on Monday afternoon, and a lot of people were worried that they had reached gridlock, that they were unable to reach a verdict. But we've just got this email within the last few minutes, Mike. It says the jury in the matter of R versus Erin Patterson, King versus Erin Patterson, have indicated they have reached verdicts, and the court will be reconvening at 2:15 p.m. They're warning all parties involved, including us, the media. They have 15 minutes to get inside this building, to get into position to wait for this verdict. Obviously, the most important people in all of this, aside from Patterson herself, will be the legal teams, the defence and the prosecution, who for this last week, Mike, have been scattered around this town, sitting, waiting in cafes nearby, waiting for this very email to come through to get themselves into the courtroom and be ready for when Justice Christopher Beale enters that room along with the jury, and then, of course, Erin Patterson herself to hear the jury's final verdict.
And Chris, we've been talking about the interest in this case. It's been international. It reminds me a lot of the Lindy Chamberlain case.
Look, I mean, a lot of people have made that comparison, Mike, and if you go back in terms of everyone's been calling this the trial of the century. We hear that phrase a lot, obviously, on all sorts of trials across the recent years, in particular. The Chris Dawson trial, I know, in Sydney got similar headlines because it too went worldwide. But this particular trial, this particular matter has reached a level of fascination and intrigue around this country and, of course, around the world as well that has been, I would say, unmatched in a long time. Perhaps, as you say, right back to Lindy Chamberlain. Remember the famous words there, "A dingo's got my baby." Well, this one, "A mushroom killed my in-laws." I mean, it's just extraordinary. It was weird. It interested and excited so many people across this country. And we've seen that in the level of interest in TV broadcasts, in the podcasts that have been done. Some 5 are running at the moment. There's a documentary being made as we speak. The crew is running around behind me now. There is a book being written as well. There is so much interest in this particular case. And finally, we get to the point now that we've been waiting for all this time. Let's reflect. 10 weeks, 8 weeks of those in evidence, 53 witnesses, 125 exhibits. When the judge handed or summed up the case at the end of it all, he had a 365-page document that he read through. It took him almost 4 days, the summing up of all of the issues, of the timeline, of the legalities, of the evidentiary material, trying to guide that jury through to a logical, reasonable and fair conclusion for this verdict. And then, as we say, that is minutes away.
Yeah, we're hearing that the verdict will come back in about 2:15, about 20 minutes from now. Chris, a lot has been made about a motive or a lack of motive. We have to tread a little carefully here until we hear the verdict. But the judge said that we don't need a verdict in this case to find Erin Patterson guilty. It's a matter of if she did it, not why she did it.
That's right. It was a lot of people said it was the missing piece of the puzzle, if you like, from the prosecution point of view. As you say, the prosecution weren't legally required to have a motive ready and prepared to give to the jury for their consideration. But Justice Beale did point out that the absence of a motive was, quote, "a relevant consideration which you must take into account in the accused's favour, in Erin Patterson's favour." And a lot of people have sort of if you go through all of the evidence back and forth, the hydrator, the mushrooms, the pinging off the towers, the plates, the buying and the individual parcelling of the lunch, But when it comes down to it, the big question, why? What would motivate this woman to allegedly kill 4 of her family members, or attempted to kill the 4th? And for many people, it didn't make sense. But the prosecution said it didn't have to provide that motive. It said that people do things for all sorts of reasons we don't need to know about or might not ever know about. But the judge pointed out there were 4 key benchmarks, if you like, for the jury to consider to decide whether or not this was going to be determined as a murder, because it was murder charges that Patterson was fighting. The first one, that she caused the death of the deceased persons. Well, there's no doubt about that. Patterson agreed eventually through the trial that she did indeed, or may have indeed, added the death cap mushrooms to that fateful lunch back in July 2023. The second one, the important one, that her alleged conduct was conscious, voluntary and deliberate. The third one, that she intended to kill. And the fourth one, that did she have any legal excuse to kill those people? Well, we know that that didn't come into play here. That's the self-defence excuse, if you like. So it was number 2 and 3, Mike. Was it deliberate and was it intentional? Those 2 key matters are what this jury has been grappling over for these last 7 days, or 6 inside the jury room, to come up with the conclusion they've come up with today. Not guilty. Guilty, we don't know. We will hear in a matter of moments. Let's do something here. Let's spin the camera around here and see if we can see courtroom number 4. It's up on the 2nd level of this court, and we can push the camera in. You can probably see a bit of reflection there on the windows, but just that, where that clock is, where those people are, where those doors are, and where that line is courtroom number 4. And that is where everyone will now be assembling, where they have been assembling for the last 10 weeks, to hear the verdict from this jury. 12 of them in that jury, obviously. We know there are 7 men, 5 women. The 4-person will be asked to stand up by Justice Beale, and Justice Beale will ask that jury member a series of questions. First of all, do you have a verdict? Yes, they do. The second will be, do you find guilty or not guilty of murder of Don, of Gail and of Heather, and so on and so forth, until they finally reach those 3 murder charges, and then the 4th one, the attempted murder of Ian Wilkinson as well. We'll hear those words very shortly.
Yeah, just under 20 minutes from now.